Before I begin, I just can't help but comment on how cool it is that as we're having our meeting, we're here, folding and putting out this mailing to support the meeting. And Sharon had me on duty at the table back there, but maybe after I'm done, I'll give one of you a break and you can sit at the table and I'll join you, because this is really great. Then it shows how committed to the struggle we are, that we're not taking a break for our forum. We're going and we're getting this mailing out. So I just wanted to comment on that and how it's unique on the left, just like this whole Libya situation kind of shows the uniqueness of us on the left. But essentially, I wanted to begin by pointing out that right now the bankers and the bosses and the Wall Street class is united. And don't let this debt crisis fool you. They're united. They're up in their towers, they're on Wall Street, they're up at the top, and they're looking down at all of us working people of the world, all of us, and they're thinking, boy, they have too much. That's what they're thinking. They're looking at the hundreds and millions of unemployed workers, and they're saying, boy, they have too much. They're looking at the families that are getting by only with their food stamps, and they're saying, those food stamps, that is too much. They're looking at the college students who, in the only industrial country in the world where college isn't free, who are essentially being penalized with years of debt for the crime of trying to get an education, and they're saying, boy, they just have too much. They're united. They're united in their program of cuts, cutbacks, destruction, and trying to suck every amount of profit that they can get out of us in this time of economic crisis. But the contradiction in all of this is that the more they take, the lower the wages get, the more people that are unemployed, the more they take out of us, the more they cut the programs, the more that happens, the less products they can sell. So inevitably, it's only going to make the crisis worse. And inevitably, this system is doomed. We're living in the final period of capitalism. But capitalism isn't just going to go away. And that's why we're a revolutionary party. Capitalism won't fade away of its own destruction. Capitalism must be destroyed. And that's why we're here. And that's why we're organizing. So that's the brilliance of it. And kind of the situation with Libya really shows how important our party is, because we understand fundamentally that what's going on in workers here and how they're destroying the high wages and how they're cutting the programs and how they're fighting and doing everything they can to beat workers down here in the US, how that's linked, and it's the exact same thing with Libya. The government of Libya came to power in a popular revolution in 1967, and regardless of whatever criticisms we may have of the Libyan government, that government came in, and that's a government that they know will not obey their orders. That's clear. While the Black Panther Party in the United States was being hunted down and harassed by the FBI and assassinated, in Libya they welcomed contingents from the Black Panther Party here in the U.S. as heroes. In Libya, the oil belongs to the people. In Libya, college education is free for everyone. And they're not going to tolerate that. And that's what this war is about. And just like they come down and when we demonstrate and when we march here, they attack us and they demand that we stand down, and they try to do everything they can to suppress our fighting back here. They're trying to suppress Libya. The bombs in Libya are come from the same forces that are trying to destroy the working people of this country, and it's connected. It's connected, and that's the brilliance. And you would think that this would be common understanding, but sadly it isn't. A lot of the forces who are happy to protest the war in Iraq, happy to protest the war in Afghanistan, have remained silent, or maybe if not silent, absent in the struggle to end this brutal attack on the people of Libya. And this is not good, and that's why this meeting coming up with Cynthia McKinney is very important. Now, Cynthia McKinney, she has always been a fighter. They have never liked her. They've never tolerated her. One of her first acts when she was in Congress in 2001, or in 2000 when she was serving her first term in Congress, or in Georgia, in Congress, in the U.S. Congress in 2000, she refused to endorse Al Gore in the presidential election. And she made a point of doing it, and she said that she couldn't support him because he had ties with the companies that were brutally suppressing the people of Colombia. and she demanded that he denounce the forcing of the people of Colombia off their land on behalf of oil companies. And she gave a press conference where she pointed out that Al Gore was getting funding and had family connections with the very oil companies that were committing all these crimes in Colombia. So ever since she was in Washington, they couldn't tolerate that. The Israeli government has tried to murder her as she brought aid to the people, on the flotilla. And I'm very proud to say that I voted for her in 2008, my first presidential election. I was proud to cast my vote for the Green Party for Cynthia McKinney, who took a heroic stand. Her demand in the elections involved an end to the bailouts of the banks, an end to the wars, funding for the people, and an end to the prison industrial complex. So I'm proud to say I voted for her. And so this meeting coming up is very important, and it's important not just because Cynthia McKinney has had the courage to make sure that the only news we hear coming out of Libya is not what they say on CNN or Fox, but she's gone and she's exposed the truth of what's going on there. That's one aspect of why it's important. Another reason of why it's important is because so many of the forces that should be involved in demonstrating and opposing the war aren't getting the message. And this meeting with Cynthia McKinney, who is known as a fighter, can be an opportunity to win some of those forces that aren't involved in the heroism and the struggle that is needed right now to stop the bombing of Libya. It could be an opportunity to win them and build part of the mass movement. A mass movement that not only says end the bombing of Libya, end the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, but also says no to cuts in food stamps, no to tuition hikes, no to all of that. Power to the working class and down with capitalism. Thank you.